Everybody, I'm back with a brand new story, and it's part of a series that I'm going to be doing for celebrating Literacy Week. And the theme is Believe in Yourself. And it's going to deal with characters and stories where people persevered and believed, and really inspiring stories that I'm going to share. So the one that I'm going to read you right now is I Am Helen Keller, and it's by Brad Meltzer. And I hope you enjoy it and learn and you're inspired by it. I Am Helen Keller by Brad Meltzer. I am Helen Keller. When I was little, I was just like you. I loved to play, I loved my dog, and I loved seeing all the bright, beautiful flowers. I also loved copying people. At 6 months old, I can already say, "Howdy, how'd yourself, T. Did she just ask for tea? How did she do that? What can I say? There's no stopping her." On the day I turned 1, I started walking. Oh, and there was another word I loved. Well, here's your water. Just like any other kid, right? But there's one thing that made me different. When I was 19 months old, I got very sick. The doctors said that I wouldn't live. I did live, but the sickness, it made me blind and deaf. This is how I see the world. Close your eyes and block your ears. I couldn't see anything or hear anything. That's right, nothing. Okay, so try that. Close your eyes, cover your ears. That's what her life was like. She couldn't see anything and she couldn't hear anything. Can you imagine what that must have been like? I know it seems scary. It was scary for me too. Back then, people didn't know how to deal with someone who was deaf and blind. My relatives thought I was a monster. You see the way she behaves? She put her hand in my plate. She ate my food. She's trying to find her water. She threw the silverware too. She's so poorly behaved. She shouldn't be here. Now, it's really not that she's misbehaving. It's that she can't express herself. She's blind, she's deaf, and she's having a lot of problems, but they didn't understand that. They thought she was just misbehaving. They were right, I wasn't well behaved. I was extremely frustrated in my dark world. I couldn't tell if anyone noticed me or cared about me. I couldn't see or hear what I was doing. But by the time I was 5, I figured out small ways to communicate. To say yes, I nodded my head. For no, I shook it to the side. To say father, I motioned to put on his glasses. For mother, I rested my hand on my face. For my baby sister, I sucked my thumb. And when I'd shiver, I was cold, I really meant, ooh, Helen wants ice cream. So when she wanted ice cream, she pretended that she was really cold. But even with those signs, I couldn't get my dog Belle to play with me. I didn't know how to speak, so I couldn't call her. I just wanted to play with my dog. The saddest part was I got used to a dark and silent world. People told my parents to give up on me, that I'd never be good at anything. They didn't listen though. After reading about another blind and deaf girl, my parents found something they hadn't since I'd gotten sick: hope. This says there are places that teach deaf and blind children. That's what she needs. She needs a teacher. We all do. Everyone needs a teacher. Still, I had no idea what the world was about to bring me. I never had a more important day. I was 6 years old, and from the way my mother was hurrying, I knew something big was coming. I stood on the porch waiting, feeling the sun on my face. Someone approached. I can feel footsteps. I reached out thinking it was my mother. She pulled me into her arms. Her name was Anne Sullivan. She's the teacher that changed my life. That's Anne Sullivan, and she is going to become Helen Keller's teacher. In one of her first lessons, she gave me a toy doll. After letting me play with it, she spelled the word doll into the palm of my hand. D-O-L-L. Can you feel the letters? I could feel them, but I didn't know what letters or words were or how they worked. It didn't stop Miss Sullivan. One day we were arguing as she was trying to teach me the words mug and water. I got so upset, I took my new doll and smashed it on the ground. I got angry a lot back then. It was so hard for me. Why do you think she got so angry? Right, she's so frustrated. Remember, she can't hear, she can't see, she can't express herself. It's a very frustrating world for her, and she's very young. Never losing her patience, my teacher took me outside. At a nearby spot, she put my hand under the running water. In my other hand, she spelled the word water, W-A-T-E-R. And again, 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 water, W-A-T-E-R. W-A-T-E-R, W-A-T-E-R. You understand, don't you? You understand. So she got it. She understood. And now she's starting to learn. From there, I realized that everything had a name. Every object I touched seemed to burst to life. Mother, lamp, table, father, teacher, sister, dog. And when you're learning something new, it's often hard. I started with words. My vocabulary grew fast. Eventually, I learned the meaning of the word love. I'd given my teacher some flowers, so she spelled in my hand, I love Helen. What is love? I didn't understand. I was confused. It's here, she spelled while tapping on my heart. I was still confused. It was hard to understand something that I couldn't touch. So she really didn't understand a lot of things. But her teacher, Anne Sullivan, is very patient and teaching her a lot of things. See, now she knows how that objects have names. Now she's going to learn about how to express things that aren't an object. It made no sense. Why couldn't my teacher show me love? But then she explained, you can't touch clouds, but you can feel rain. And you know how happy flowers are to get watered. That's how love is. You can't touch love, but you can feel love. There in that moment, my whole world changed. It was as if there was invisible lines that stretched between me and everyone else in my life. Close your eyes. You can feel it too, your connection to your family and your friends. So she's teaching her that even if it's something that you can't touch, it exists and it's real and how you can feel it. Still, life was never easy. Without sight, I couldn't see people's faces. Without sound, I couldn't hear their voices. But one of the greatest breakthroughs came when I learned to do what you're doing right now. And you know what that is? You know what she learned how to do? Read. Read without eyes? How is she going to do that? You read with your fingers. On a cardboard, you feel the raised dots. And that's it right there. It's called Braille. So Braille is how you can read by feeling the dots. And like this word says doll. So that's how she was able to read. It's called Braille. To practice, I match each word with this object to make sentences. This was my favorite game. We played it for hours. See if you can find the sentence, girl is in the wardrobe. And this is how she was learning how to read. All of these are words that are in Braille, dots that she can follow with her fingers to read what the word says. From there, I started reading real books, just like all of you. The only difference was my books were in Braille, which is a series of raised dots that you read with your fingers. See, it looks like this. And I know you guys can't feel the book, but I'm feeling it. And I can feel the raised dots to read the words. At first, it just feels bumpy, right? You get used to it. These dots spell my name. So this right here, this says Helen in Braille. You want to read your name in Braille? Well, here's the alphabet. So this right here, that is the alphabet in Braille. Now you're reading just like me. So these are all the letters in Braille. So once she learned the alphabet, she was able to read words. She could feel it with her fingers, and that's how she read. To make reading even more fun, my teacher took me outside. She knew I loved feeling the sun on my face and smelling the pine needles. I read my book so many times, I wore down the raised dots. There was the Arabian Nights, Robinson Crusoe, and one of my favorites, Little Women. In these pages, I met brave boys and girls who could hear and see. I'm not afraid of storms, for I'm learning how to sail my ship. So she loved reading. So even though she couldn't see, she was still able to read. One of Miss Sullivan's best lessons came when she showed me how plants grow. Feel the buds. A bud is when the plant first starts to grow. A flower can only bloom if it's watered. When I was 9 years old, I wanted to learn how to speak. Even Miss Sullivan was worried about teaching me. She thought I'd get frustrated, but nothing would stop me. To help me, Miss Sullivan took me to a teacher named Sarah Fuller, who would put my hand to her face and let me feel her tongue and lips as she made the sound. When you're speaking, your tongue moves a certain way, your lips move a certain way, your mouth to form the letters. And that is how she's learning how to speak. She would feel how your tongue would move, how your lips move, how your mouth moves when you're speaking. In an hour, I learned the letters M, P, A, S, T, and I. Now I could call my dog and she'd come to me. At my 7th lesson, I spoke this sentence, the one sentence I repeat over and over. I am not dumb now. So now she feels better about herself. She knows what she can do. She can read and speak. And even though she's blind, she can't see and she can't hear, she can do these things now. As I got older, I didn't just learn how to speak English. I learned French and German. And for college, I wanted to go to Radcliffe at Harvard University. Maybe she should wait another year. Deaf and blind people don't go to college. But do you think that stopped Helen Keller from going to college? That's right. She said, I could go to college. I wouldn't argue with her. There's no stopping her. At Harvard, most of my books weren't available in Braille, so Miss Sullivan spelled out many of the textbooks in my hand. That's how much I loved learning. And that's how patient and selfless Miss Sullivan was. Miss Sullivan her teacher was very patient and really helped her a lot. But Helen Keller wanted to learn. She always wanted to learn, and she never gave up. She always kept going. I became the first deaf and blind person to earn a college degree. I wouldn't be the last. As I grew older, I wrote 14 books and visited 39 countries. But the most important thing I did was to make sure that the other people with disabilities can get the same education I did. Remember how they told her, you can't go to college, you're blind and deaf. And that didn't stop her. So she was determined to help other people with disabilities go to college. My family had the money to hire a private teacher. Not everyone is that lucky. We need to give everyone an equal chance. She's so strong. Today, thousands of deaf and blind students enroll in universities thanks to Helen Keller. That was only the beginning. I didn't just help the deaf and blind. I started fighting for social change to help women to vote, to help the poor to survive, and to help the people that needed it most. She was one of the earliest supporters of the ACLU to fight for free speech. She was also supportive of the NAACP to help Black people get equal rights as well. And she met every president from Grover Cleveland to Lyndon Johnson. But let's be honest, she didn't meet them, they met her. Today, the American Foundation for the Blind and Helen Keller International continue to help the blind and the hungry. So not only did she help blind and deaf people, she helped she helped African Americans get civil rights. She helped women get rights. She helped people that were poor. She did a lot to help other people. In my life, they said I was different. They said I'd never be normal. But the truth is, there's no such thing as normal. Every one of us is like a flower that must be watered. Every one of us is full of potential, and every one of us can overcome obstacles. Look at me, hear my words. I may not be able to see, but I have vision. I may not be able to hear, but I have a voice. So just remember, we all have things that we have to overcome, but we can do it. We can persevere. You can overcome anything. And she was blind. It's through her whole life since she was little and deaf, and she was still able to do all these things. She was able to read, and then she learned how to speak. She went to college. She helped people. She changed things. She made reforms. Think of your life as a hill that must be climbed. There's no correct path to get to the top. We all zigzag in our own ways. At some point, you'll slip, you'll fall, you'll tumble back again. So throughout life, there's always going to be obstacles, and you're not always going to succeed. There's going to be failures, and there's going to be bumps along the road, but you should never give up. Keep going. You can do it. You got it. If you get back up and keep climbing, I promise you. And here this says, she's the first statue in the US Capitol of a child. So there is a statue in Washington, D.C. of Helen Keller. I really want to know how you do all that stuff. I just decided I could. And so if you keep climbing, don't give up, face your obstacles, you will reach the top. Don't let anything in life hold you back. Our lives are what we make of them. There'll always be obstacles, but there'll always be ways around them. I'm Helen Keller, and I won't let anything stop me. And she did it. And don't let anything stop you. You could do anything. Just put your mind to it. Keep working at it. You can do it. And here is some actual pictures. This is Helen when she was 8 years old with her teacher, Ann Sullivan. This is her with her dog. This is Helen meeting Eleanor Roosevelt. And remember when that's how she learned how to speak. She would touch the lips and the tongue and learn how to speak that way. So these are some pictures. And I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned some things about Helen Keller and her story. And I hope you never give up and you persevere and you got this. You can do it. There's obstacles in life and you could be like Helen Keller. Remember, She was blind and deaf, and she was still able to overcome so many things and accomplish so many things in her life, and you can too. I hope you enjoyed that story. Thank you, everyone.